Folks, before I get into the next game, I want to tell you that the college basketball experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Look, Underdog Fantasy has a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. They got NFL, NBA, NHL, college football, and college basketball. Simply pick higher or lower in your favorite players' fantasy stats and cash in. Noah, we were talking about this. Shout out to Virgil, by the way. Just tipped us five American. Appreciate you. There's a lot of props we like on the college football front. Now, what's great about Underdog,
college basketball, nothing's out yet.
There will be though. There will be, like they updated later on, and that's what's great about Underdog Fantasy. I believe you can find an edge that you can't get elsewhere. Promo code is TCE SGPN. But let's talk about some of these because I think there's a lot of value in a few plays. What is one that you've had your eye on?
Yeah, so I picked out two. As most know, I've even said it. Like the bowl games, I used to really, really love bowl game season, but now the 40 games before the CFP, just the meaning is drained because nobody plays. So I don't. I give like 2 ounces of attention to any of those games. So I'm going right to the CFP games. And my favorite one for tomorrow is Jalen Polk higher than 53.5 receiving yards. First off, it's 10-2 this season. And he's gone for over 105 games.
Yeah. All those Washington wideouts are nasty.
Yeah. I think what they're doing here is they're respecting the Longhorns defense, which is they're a good defense, but I love Colby's angle of they haven't faced the talented passing quarterback like Michael Penix all year.
Yeah,
Colby's mentioned they've faced 7 backup quarterbacks all season long.
The best passing quarterback they've faced is either Dylan Gabriel, who runs a lot, or Donovan Smith from Houston. Because if you really break down the rest of them, Jahmyr Gibbs, not Jahmyr Gibbs, Jalen Milroe, was in his second start, and he's not a passing threat. I mean, he's all right passing, but he's not like a traditional drop back passer, scorch you down the field. That doesn't apply. And then you look at the other opponents they've played. Will Howard, I don't picture Will Howard as a drop back passing quarterback either.
I like this from Rob. Not available on Underdog unless there's a spicy that goes like 30 yards higher tomorrow. But yeah, ladders on Jalen Polk, in my opinion. The 5 100-yard games does it for me. Like I'm pretty confident that he goes over 53.5.
Yeah. But I think, and look, just so you know, folks, I mean, I'm on the Washington Huskies. Texas has the 93rd best passing defense in the country. So that's not good to me. And like I said, I even think their stats are worse than that. Like I think they would chart worse had they played better quarterback play. So I think they're like 110th best pass defense in the nation. I also think you give Kalen DeBauer a month to prep, and you have Michael Penix, who is, in my opinion, the best quarterback in college football at throwing the ball. Like Jalen, I think Daniel should have won the Heisman, but he was such a rushing threat. Penix, as far as dropping back and throwing the ball where it needs to go, I think he's the best in the country. I think that's a huge edge there. I'm actually on both. Actually, I'm going to give you a little quarterback attention. I normally hate quarterbacks, but yeah, I mean, come on. They always bitch. You know what I mean? They're always terrible. But I mean, I think there's some opportunity with the quarterbacks. Both Quinn Ewers. So Quinn Ewers, the reason why I like the reason why I like Washington is I think Ewers is most likely to have a interception, strip sack, something like that. It happens a lot, but I think he's still going to eat. Washington's defense is in the 100s pass defense, but they played a lot of great quarterbacks. I think they're going to make an emphasis on stopping the big play. Texas has one of the worst red zone offenses. So I think that's the angle there. But Quinn Ewers, I do think will get higher than 292.5 passing yards, providing he stay healthy the whole game. So I like that angle. And believe it or not, I think Penix will still throw for over 313.5 passing yards. So I will take the higher there on both of them. And Yeah, another one that is tempting, I think, if you're playing this is CJ Baxter, higher than 81.5 rushing yards, because I think Texas will get yardage. I just don't know that they can translate them all to touchdowns, which is why I like the Washington Huskies. Another one that I like, and then I'll ask you one again because I think we both like one. But I'm going to take you to that LSU Wisconsin game. I think so. Remember old Doug Nussmeier, the former NFL quarterback. His son Garrett Nussmeier is starting the LSU game for Jalen Daniels and for Jaden Daniels. He's a stud. If you haven't had a chance to watch this kid, so I am all over the higher 250 passing yards. I think the touchdown prop could be live too. So you got any other ones you like, buddy?
Yeah, I've got one more that I really love, and it comes in the other CFP game. It's Alabama, Michigan. Personally, I think this is going to be more of a low-scoring game. But when we're talking player projections on Underdog Fantasy, my favorite one there is Colston Loveland, higher than 31.5 receiving yards. This is a guy that I've been really high on since he came onto campus in Ann Arbor. I think he's our most talented pass catcher, or just when it comes to like who's going to be the best over time, or like whatever you're trying. I think that he's going to be good in the NFL too. I think he's going to be a solid tight end. And I think when you look at the game in Alabama and Michigan, the biggest advantage for either side is Alabama's secondary against Michigan's wide receivers. I personally don't think that's a threat to Alabama. I think they could go single coverage on the receivers, and they're going to be bringing 7 or blitzing a lot on JJ to put pressure on him. And I think JJ is going to be able to find Colston Loveland plenty of times, and same with AJ Barner. I think those will be his more go-to targets than the wide receivers in this game. Colston Loveland's had higher than 31.5 receiving yards in 4 of his last 6 games. I think it comes here against Alabama too. Yeah.
I like that angle. I think the key to Michigan, moving the ball is the tight ends. I touched on that on our college football show because I do think Bama will lock them up. I would say though that I know you said that was the biggest key to me. I also would say Michigan's defensive line against an Alabama offensive line that's been pretty weak this year. That's another one that stands out to me. But I do think you're right 100%. Michigan's receivers do not scare Alabama. And I think the key is getting the tight ends involved. And I think Jim Harbaugh knows that.
I guess just as a fan, I more think of doom and gloom. How could this go wrong for my team rather than how can it go right?
Yeah. Another thing I would say is Milroe going up against the nation's second best pass defense. I just watched that Auburn game the other day, rewatched it. Man, he should have had like 2 interceptions that were dropped by Auburn players. And I feel like that you go back and look at that Texas game. Now that was a long time ago, but he's had moments in a lot of these games where he throws some really questionable balls. If Michigan can make him pay for that, I think that's a huge advantage for them. But they have to. Yeah.
I respect Rob's opinion when it comes to college sports in general. However, I think I disagree. He goes, Michigan's aggressive blitz style could absolutely bite them with how often, Bama's quarterback runs. I think they know that coming in. They were burned by Duggan last year in the same style as well. Like at some point, Harbaugh's got to learn a lesson at this. And you don't need to bring the house to get pressure, like Colby's saying. Like I think our D-line is going to be able to do just fine. And our secondary is very good. Like this is the best secondary that we've had in quite a while. Like
I'd say the thing that maybe Rob that scares me is the ad-libbing that he can do. Jalen Milroe could, if he tucks it, if it's a design pass play and he tucks it and, he's so fucking athletic. And I can't believe Bill O'Brien was that dumb to say he should try another position because he's such a fucking wild card. He's like a wideout.
I'm not putting it past O'Brien.
Yeah, he's so bad. How can you be that fucking bad? And so to me, that's where I think the scary part is for Michigan, because you could play disciplined defense and your defensive line still wreak havoc, but you could have situations where you actually, because you're able to get back there so fast, it might align for a play for Milroe to just ad lib and just run for like a 30-yard touchdown or something. That to me is the, he's such a unique talent at the quarterback spot where there's not many of those like that. He's so athletic. He's one of the most athletic quarterbacks I've seen in some time.
But I'm with you. I think a mistake or two comes in the air from him. I think the secondary has really been slept on, like nationally, from Michigan standpoint.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something to me. Like Milroe, if you got to make him pay for that. Like going back to the Auburn game, even though Auburn should have won that game, you got to intercept those balls. Like he threw one, I think in the third quarter, like far left-hand side of the field. That was such a bad pass. You have to make him pay for that. It was a dropped, it was dropped interception. The guy dove for it. And if you don't make him pay for that, then you'll see Alabama win these games.
I think Jermaine Burton's going to get his. I mean, even Marvin Harrison did, but they're all right giving that to Burton. You're going to need to make somebody else beat you, and Ohio State wasn't able to do that. I think they're going to make the same thing happen with Alabama and Milroe. So.
Yeah, can't wait to watch that one, folks. So what are you doing? Look at all these great props we're talking about. Watch along, make picks, make some extra cash on Underdog's mobile app or website, UnderdogFantasy.com. When you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy. Promo code TCE SGPN. I'm sorry. Promo code is TCE SGPN.